Hey, my lovelies. About to share this screen. Update on President Trump. They trying to impeach him. I gotta find it. Oops, wrong one. Okay, why my sound not on? Oh, I know why. I got the headset on. Hold up.
Domestic terrorist who detonated a bomb right here in this building. But we're the extremists? I don't think so. We've been silenced by big tech on social media, by corporate America, and now the other side wants to silence us on the House floor. This is a sad day in America. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
The gentleman's time's expired. The gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve.
Thank you,
the gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to a new member of the House and a new member of the Judiciary Committee, the distinguished gentlelady from Missouri, Ms. Bush.
The gentlewoman from Missouri is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, St. Louis and I rise in support of the article of impeachment against Donald J. Trump. If we fail to remove a white supremacist president who incited a white supremacist insurrection, it's communities like Missouri's 1st District that suffer the most. The 117th Congress must understand that we have a mandate to legislate in defense of Black lives. The first step in that process is to root out white supremacy, starting with impeaching the white supremacist in chief. Thank you, and I yield back.
And from New York wishes to reserve. The gentleman from Ohio seeks recognition.
Madam Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Texas, Dr. Johnson.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to the articles of impeachment. Let me be clear. What happened last Wednesday was a stain on our nation, and the criminals and the rioters responsible should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. It is clear now more than ever that our country needs to come together. And this Congress, needs to lead by example and begin the process of healing the deep division that exists among us as Americans. The articles before us today will not accomplish that. In fact, the sham articles of impeachment will only serve to further fan the flames of unrest and to appease the radical left's appetite for division. We should be focusing on restoring communities devastated by lockdowns, working on America's vaccine rollout, aiding a bipartisan investigation into these attacks, and ensuring election integrity, not impeaching a president who has promised a peaceful transition and who has less than 7 days left in office. It is time to focus on the unprecedented challenges we face, and it's time to focus on unity. For these reasons, I urge my colleagues to oppose these articles of impeachment, and I yield back my time. Thank you.
The gentleman yields back his time. The gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentlelady from New York.
The gentleman from New York is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, today I rise to support H.R. 24, the article of impeachment against Donald Trump for high crimes and misdemeanors for a second time. Let us be very clear. What took place on January 6, 2021 was an act of domestic terrorism by right-wing, sycophantic white supremacists promoted, instigated, and advanced by the man in the White House, Donald Trump. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, the ultimate weakness of violence is that it is a descending spiral, begetting the very thing it sets to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it.
Time has expired. The gentleman from New York wishes to reserve. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Tiffany.
The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My father once said to me, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. In the short time I've served in this body, one thing is clear. This is not a serious place. Last year, we watched as the other side delayed COVID relief for months to inflict maximum pain and sway the outcome of the election. The Speaker said as much. And yet these last 2 days, we have seen just how fast they can move when they want to exact political retribution on their opponents. My friends on the other side now have complete control of both houses of Congress. And in a few days, they will control the entire executive branch as well. Madam Speaker, Joe Biden has talked about unity and healing. Is that what this is today? Is accusing Republican lawmakers of sedition and calling for their expulsion the plan for healing? Is working with Silicon Valley to digitally disappear those with whom
Hey,
they
Raptors
disagree
Angel.
the plan for
Hey,
reconciliation? I was among the first to condemn the riots in Madison months ago, and I condemn what happened last week. But where were the swift accusations of incitement and insurrection from the other side last year? Is today's political theater a preview of what the American people can expect from single-party rule? 2 years of double standards and punishing those who voted for someone else? Madam Speaker, I hope Mr. Biden is watching today, and he will rise to the moment and call off this effort to rub salt in the wounds of millions of Americans. It is now time for all of us, Democrats and Republicans alike,
Hey, Mama
to
Riding.
turn down the temperature. Thank you.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Cleaver.
The gentleman from Missouri is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, it would be an error to suppose that men and women can be courageous every day. It would be unfair to anticipate that I or any member of this body could be a lion every day. No one is expected to be a lion day after day after day. But on this day, lions are required.
The gentleman yields back his time. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Hey, my sisters, I'm just trying to get
Ohio wishes to reserve.
some
The
watch
gentleman from New
hours
York is
in.
recognized.
Madam
I'm gonna stay
Speaker,
on
I
for
now
about
yield
30
30
minutes.
seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Cohen.
The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized for 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. After President Trump was
Mama
not
Riding, everything's
Susan Collins
good.
said-
Just trying to get these watch hours in.
Susan Collins said he's learned a pretty big lesson. He
Y'all
was
check out
impeached.
my
Then he brought
video, the
his
interview
It Would Be Wild
about,
Ride television show that he produced for one person, individually.
Lil Wayne and
Intelligence reports
Kodak
indicate
Black,
that the
when
people
y'all
he
get a
said he loves
chance.
and are special are going to attack this city and attack this Capitol next week. He has not asked them not to do it. He has not told them to stand down. I most fear January 20, because I think he will try to go out with a
The
bang
gentleman's
and
time
take
has
attention
expired.
away from Joe
The
Biden.
gentleman.
Y'all know what? Even though Trump does a lot of dirt,
The gentleman from New York.
I still
The
wouldn't,
gentleman from
my
Ohio.
worst enemy, I still wouldn't wish nothing bad to happen to him.
Speaker,
You know what I
statement
mean?
from the president.
He gonna be out in 7 days anyway, so why, you know, they
No
trying
vandalism
to,
of any kind. This is
get him
not
out
what
of
I stand
office.
for. This is not what America stands
just
for.
let the
I
7
call
days
on all
ride out.
Americans to help ease tensions and calm down. Just put out that statement by the President of the United States. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Klein.
The gentleman from Virginia is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you,
I
Madam.
figure no need in impeaching him, he gonna be there 7 days,
Above the
just,
entrance to the
you
House
know
of
what I mean?
Representatives is a
What y'all
sculpture
think?
Called The Apotheosis of Democracy. It depicts allegorical peace dressed in armor and protecting the genius of America. Last week, that peace was tragically torn apart as our U.S. Capitol was invaded for the first time since the War of 1812. A violent mob, including many with the most hostile of intentions, broke past security barriers and unleashed destruction and chaos throughout the Capitol. When it was over, 6 individuals were dead, including 2 Capitol Police officers. I've always supported the rights of citizens to peaceably assemble, but those who breached the Capitol and assaulted and killed Capitol Police should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If their
Yeah,
intent is to
Raptors
stop
Angel,
the
it is
constitutional
complicated.
requirement of this body to count electoral
I
votes,
don't want him to get impeached. Not that I'm saying that I like him or like what he's doing.
and the legal standard for
I just
incitement to
figure let
violence
him ride
has
out
not
the
been
7 days.
met. Now, a week since the riots threatened the People's House
and a week until a new president takes office, we are rushing through.
I know that's right, Mama Riding.
Facts and evidence.
I got mine though. I finally got mine Friday. It was direct deposited into my account.
Whether it bolsters the majority's claims or the minority's views.
Now
Whether it
they
implicates
talking about doing a $2,000 one.
attack on this hallowed institution. We just don't know.
You get yours
And that's
yet,
why we must
Mama
treat
Riding?
the
You get your stimulus yet?
holders of this power with the seriousness and solemnity.
I got mine. I didn't think I was going to get mine.
Let's hear the judiciary, make an informed decision together. This action will only fuel.
I thought they was going to make me write it off on my taxes, because that's what it says. They either going to have you write it off on your taxes, or you'll get it direct deposit or paper check.
Both President Trump and President-elect Biden have called for a peaceful transition of power. I humbly beseech my colleagues to work toward this end to unify our country and not go down this dangerous path. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. This time the gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Langevin.
The gentleman from Rhode Island is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, January 6th was a horrific day for our country, for our democracy. The Capitol was breached, the blood of a defender spilled, all because of a
They only
lie.
doing 1,400 for the next one? I'll take 1,400.
This nation has perniciously, as the
And if you married, I think it's double.
of that lie, he has perverted and betrayed his oath to defend the Constitution, attacking the foundation of our democracy by inciting his supporters to violence. He is not fit to serve and is a danger to our country while he does. I too pledge to support and defend
The
the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will uphold that office. I will vote to impeach President Trump. I urge my colleagues to do the same.
The gentleman from New York wishes to reserve. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry.
The gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 1 minute.
What did the Speaker know, and what did other legislative leaders know, and when did they know it? Maybe that's a
I gotta, you know what, guys? I have to figure out how to post your comments up while I'm sharing the screen. I've seen people do it, but I don't know how they're doing
They
that.
shared the information, but nothing happened. The chief federal prosecutor in Washington.
Even though I
stated
have two
he is pursuing
screens, I
conspiracy
can't
charges.
see
The
my
fact that IEDs were constructed and placed in form
my
of
StreamYard
leads
screen.
that there was pre-planning for portions of the tragic events last week. How does the president
thank y'all for
incite an
being
attack
here.
that was pre-planned and already
Y'all helping
underway
me get these
before
watch
his
hours.
speech
I
concluded? Now,
gotta
I know
have
my
them by
colleagues
March.
on the left want America to believe that the president incited a spontaneous riot that they'd like to call an
Let's see how
insurrection.
many I have
But the
in here.
facts
I
are
have
stubborn things, even if you choose to ignore them. The truth
4
is the
watching.
multiple lawless and violent events last summer, including months-long siege of the federal courthouse, burning, looting, physical violence, and so-called
Okay,
sanctuary
Mama
cities,
Riding.
were closely connected
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna
to
The
Google it.
gentleman's time has expired.
I'm gonna do it after this. Hey, Amanda. I'm gonna do it after this live is over.
Ohio wishes to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman.
Thank you, Amanda, for being here. Righteous Angel, Mama Riding, and EE. Love you guys. I appreciate y'all so much.
Any outrage too far? Is there any blood and violence too much to turn hearts and minds in this body? Instead of the usual justification, rationalization, and enabling and false equivalence we have to hear. This is a moment of truth, my friends. Are you on the side of chaos and the mob, or on the side of constitutional democracy and our freedom? It's that simple. That's what this vote for impeachment.
Are you watching it on C-SPAN? I saw it pop up on my computer, Mama Riding. So I said, let me just get about 30 minutes of this footage.
The gentleman from Ohio has 25 minutes remaining.
21.
The gentleman has 25 minutes
thank you.
remaining. The gentleman from New York has 31 1/4 remaining.
I think they give them 2 minutes to
The
speak.
gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve.
That's
The
why they
gentleman
cutting them
from New
off
York
so
is
quick.
recognized.
Madam Speaker, I yield 30 seconds to the gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Crow.
The gentleman from
Oh,
Colorado is
Amanda, you
recognized
cleaning.
for
I know
30
that's right.
Madam Speaker, last week I stood in that gallery to defend this chamber against a violent mob called here by Donald Trump.
I was just
I have
telling
dedicated my life to the defense of our nation.
the chat that I really don't want him to get impeached. Not that I'm not saying that I like him. I like what he does. It's just not worth it. It's only 7 days left.
But this Congress sends our young men and
Oh, it's on
men and
regular
women to
TV.
war every day.
Mama riding.
I'm not asking you to storm the beaches of Normandy, but only show a fraction of the courage we ask of our troops every day. Leadership is hard. It's time to impeach.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman
wanna
from New York
impeach him.
continues to reserve. The gentleman
And
from
see, if they
Ohio.
impeach him, he's not gonna be able to
The gentleman from New York.
do any pardons
Madam Speaker, I yield 30 seconds to the
unless he
distinguished
already
gentleman
signed
from
off on the pardons.
Illinois, Mr. Davis.
Because you know how all those presidents right
The
before they
gentleman
get out of
from Illinois
office,
is recognized for 30 seconds.
they sign a lot of pardon. They pardon a lot of people out of jail.
Well, I have heard from the people of the 7th District of Illinois. They have told me what to do.
Yeah,
They have
political
said,
theater. That's right, Mama
this
riding.
president, impeach this president and do it now. I will follow their instructions and vote yes to impeach this president. And I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman.
I mean, what they think he's gonna do with in the next 7 days, though? Why they so stressed on impeaching him so quickly?
I now yield seconds to the distinguished gentlelady.
They think he could what? He gonna start a World War III, push a button?
Texas is recognized for 30 seconds.
I doubt that.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On January 6th, terrorists attacked the United States of America. It was an attempted coup and an insurrection, but what I help Americans understand is that it was a terrorist attack against our country. Those who came and participated must be found and prosecuted. Those who aided and abetted must be found and prosecuted. And the man who incited it, President Donald J. Trump, our greatest national security
They already
threat,
arrested
must
80
be
people.
impeached, held accountable, and never be allowed to hold office again.
What?
I yield back.
Mama riding? I didn't know
The
that.
gentleman from New York reserves the gentleman.
Oh,
from
that is a
Ohio.
that's a felony if they
Reserves
stole
the gentleman
laptops.
from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds.
Okay,
to
no
the
wonder they
distinguished
so
gentlelady from
stressed on
California, Ms.
impeaching them.
The gentlewoman.
But they
from
gotta
California
prosecute the people who
is
stole them.
recognized for
They
30
said they arrested 80 people.
Madam Speaker, future generations are not going to know the names of each member in the chamber today and voting, but they
Or at
will
least
know
80.
what we did and why. We must impeach the president because he incited a mob.
Okay, we got
that
15 more
attacked the
minutes,
Capitol of
guys.
the United States, the tabernacle of our democracy. He is incapable of honoring his oath
Ooh.
and our Constitution, and he has proven
Yeah,
to be
and counting.
unfit
80 people and
and
counting.
dangerous. I will vote.
Yeah, because they got
to
cameras all
impeach
over
the
that.
traitor
Time
to
has
our
expired.
country.
They had cameras all over that
Gentleman
White
from
House, so they're
New
gonna
York
zoom in
reserves
on
the
them
gentleman from
faces.
Ohio
Reserve.
reserves his
They're gonna
time.
zoom in on
The gentleman
everybody's
from New
face
York
and they're
is
gonna figure out who everybody
Madam
is
Speaker, I now yield
that
30
was in there,
seconds. The distinguished gentleman from New York, Mr. Espaillat.
unless
Gentleman
they had a
from New
mask
York is
on.
recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, today I cast my vote for the second time to impeach Donald J. Trump. He is unfit to hold office. He summons and dispatches mob to kidnap and hurt many of us. He is unfit to hold office. He summons and dispatches mob to assassinate Vice President Pence, to assassinate Speaker Pelosi. He is unfit to hold office. He summons and dispatches a mob that waved the racist Confederate flag and assaulted.
Yeah, and you know what else, Mama
resulted in the
riding?
death of 5
You
Americans.
right, the masks don't matter, and they said that
He is unfit.
people in there caught COVID because all them people being up in there on January 6th. They said a couple people done caught COVID.
Reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio.
They're gonna have to fumigate that
The gentleman
place,
from New York.
bleach it down, scrub it down.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Garcia.
The gentleman from Illinois is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, I rise today in the strongest possible support for the impeachment of Donald J. Trump. When Trump made a last desperate attempt to steal the presidency, to reject the will of the people by encouraging insurrection, he became the first president to incite an attempted overthrow of the institutions he is sworn to protect. That is a horrifying first, and his actions necessitate another. He should be the first president impeached and removed from office in the history of our country. I voted to impeach him once, and I'm ready to do it again. I yield back.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio.
One more and then we'll go to you. Reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio continues to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Garcia.
The gentlewoman from Texas is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, this president took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. Instead,
I thank y'all for being here, though. I appreciate y'all.
And attack our sacred democracy. This president violated
5
his
watching.
oath.
Thank
He
you.
abused the power of his office, attempted to
Got 10 more
the
minutes.
will of the American people, and incited insurrection against this very House. During the last impeachment trial, I reminded all Americans that democracy is a gift that each generation gives to the next. We must do all to protect it. For our children and our future,
The
we must
gentlewoman's
impeach
time
him.
has
Thank you.
expired. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Stubbe.
The gentleman's yielding 2 minutes, is that correct?
2 minutes.
2 minutes to the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For 3 years, Democratic
But don't they
members
got to vote on that? They all have to vote to impeach him. If they don't all vote, I mean, if they don't get enough votes,
After an exhaustive
they're not going to be
investigation
able
was
to.
found that there was no evidence that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. Should
Yeah, they
Democratic
are,
members of this body
Amanda.
resign
They all
for lying
crooked.
to the American people repeatedly
Yeah.
and sowing division and dissension all across America? And it was
Mama
all
riding. They probably
you have brought one article of
hiding.
impeachment to the floor, and your one allegation alleges,
Or they
and
probably
I
don't
quote,
want to be a part
Donald
of it.
John Trump engaged in high crimes
Hillary
and
and
misdemeanors by
Bill.
inciting violence against the government of the United States. In D.C., it's a crime to, quote, intentionally or recklessly act in such a manner to cause another person to be in reasonable fear and to incite or provoke violence when there's a likelihood that such violence
Okay,
will ensue.
EE. Thanks for
There was
stopping
no
in.
language in the
I
president's
came in
speech
on
that
like a
incited
little
or
lunch
provoked
break.
violence. In fact, at around the
My first
18-minute
break
mark,
for the
he stated,
day.
and quote, peacefully and patriotically make your voices
You
heard.
said Orange Trump Man needs to go. I like that.
That's his opinion.
All right, you have a great day,
He's entitled to that opinion.
EE.
Just like all of you
Take
are entitled to
care.
your false and fraudulent opinion that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. The legal elements of incitement are based on the Supreme Court case Brandenburg v. Ohio, in which the Supreme Court set the standard for speech that could be prosecuted without violating the First Amendment. Brandenburg's speech called for violence against groups of Americans, and the court found that Brandenburg's comments were not directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action. The court found that it was protected speech, and he was calling for violence. That's the current law of the land. The president didn't even mention violence last Wednesday, much less provoke or incite it. There was no crime committed, and therefore no basis for impeachment, as you need a high crime or misdemeanor for a basis. You have created a
About
mockery
5 more
out of the
minutes,
impeachment
guys, and I'm
process.
out.
And
I'm
I
out
urge
as
all
well.
my colleagues to stand against it and fight the latest fraud.
Amanda says, and back in the day, we thought Bill was horrible for doing what he did. Now look at all this circus these days. Yup.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Nevada, Mr. Hurspeth.
The gentleman from Nevada is recognized for 30 seconds.
But you're right. All of them are crooked. They all do some kind of dirt.
Last Wednesday's event
Just they ain't never got caught.
the building, but a breach of our democracy, a threat to our republic and to who we are as Americans. Donald Trump incited insurrection against America and attempted to overturn the will of the people. We must send a clear message that committing sedition disqualifies a president from serving another day in office. I urge this body to vote for impeachment. I will. And I yield back.
The gentleman yields back his time. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio continues to reserve.
Madam
The
Speaker, I
gentleman
now
from-
yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Houlihan.
The gentlewoman from Pennsylvania is
That's
recognized.
funny. The place is practically empty.
Last evening,
Where everybody at in there?
joined our telephone town hall. Her question shook me to my core. She was worried about the future of this great nation, and I am too. That is why I must move forward with impeachment of this president. He has endangered this nation. He has betrayed his oath. I do this now for all of us, for our Constitution and for this republic. I do this to tell the world that this great democracy will stand and no one is above the law. And I do this for our future generations. I urge us all to unite and to vote yes on impeachment. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from California, Mr. Huffman.
The gentleman from California is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, history is watching and saving the receipts.
Oh, okay,
Today, my
social
colleagues
distancing.
across the aisle must choose
Yeah, but
which
still
side
seem
of
there
the
will be
very
more people
right
up in
line
there.
they want to be recorded on for all time. On one side, lies, sedition, inciting and supporting insurrection, and domestic terrorism. The other side, your oath of office, the Constitution, democracy, decency. There is no middle ground. Today we make history forever. So choose well. A vote to impeach Donald Trump means years from now you can look your grandchildren in the eye and say, I did the right
The
thing.
gentleman's time has expired. The
Yield
gentleman
back.
from New York continues to reserve. The
Oh,
gentleman from
those 2 minutes go by fast, or is it 1
The
minute?
gentleman
They get to
The
talk.
gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentlelady from California, Ms. Jacobs.
The gentlewoman from California is recognized for 30 seconds.
Madam Speaker, the response to political violence must always be accountability. Without accountability, more violence will follow. I learned that working at the United Nations and the State Department in conflict settings around the world, and the United States Congress is now a conflict setting. A violent mob threatened our lives in this chamber and almost succeeded, incited by the president who broadcasted lies about the outcome of our election. We must hold this president accountable. It's the only way to protect our democracy. I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. The gentleman from New York continues to reserve. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished
Oh, they didn't
gentleman
do all that
from Georgia, Mr.
social distancing. Yeah, in the summer, they ain't had no mask on. They were sitting like right next to each other. You right, Mama
That
Riley.
every member of Congress would say that if they had been in Congress when John Lewis walked across that Edmund Pettus Bridge and the Civil Rights Act was passed, that they would have stood on the right side of history. Well, Madam Speaker, today we're going to see exactly what side of history you all are going to be on. And with that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New York continues to reserve. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would yield 1 minute to the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. California.
The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, today represents a unique opportunity in our nation's history. An opportunity to put America first, to put her people first. Today is a moment for members of Congress to put aside partisan politicking and place people over power.
Amanda, no, I haven't seen that.
Against this divisive impeachment.
Send me a link if you on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, send me a link in my direct message.
Of course, it feels good for the Democrats to have a united.
Or I can research it too.
But I was elected to come here and vote for things that actually do good.
Oh, it's on
To bring
HBO.
much needed help to the American people.
I tried to do
willing to take
something
the
from
first step
HBO once, and they gave me a claim, copyright claim, so I had to do in picture format. But if you do it if you take video footage, they try to claim it. Okay, I have HBO. I can check it out. I might do something on them if I like
The
it.
gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve.
A lot of times I get my ideas from my husband. He'll say like, yeah, that's a good one to do, or no, don't do it on that. One I did the other day, he said he didn't like it. He said it was boring.
The gentleman from New York is recognized for 30
I
seconds.
forget who I did it
Madam
on.
Speaker, I rise in support of the impeachment of Donald J. Trump, the disgraced.
I'm gonna
defeated
see if I can
president of the
minimize
United
the screen and try to get
There
back
must
to the
be consequences
comments.
for last week's treason and sedition. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Donald Trumps in today's Republican
post some of
Party aim
these,
to run for higher office, and we must send a message that no one in the United
Let me
States.
turn this down. I'm gonna post some of these comments up, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. Oh, I didn't even have my banner running the whole time. I'm all late and wrong. Democrats have a majority in the House this week. Who said 500 $1 fines for no mask. Ooh, $2,500 for second violation. Wow. That's a lot. Mama riding. Let me show these comments. And I'm gonna get up out of here. I had Nightbot post that every 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna get off. Yep. So I'm gonna do a little shout out and I'm up out of here. Let me start at the top. Shout out to EE for being here. Shout out to Rapture's Angel. Shout out to Mama Riding. Shout out to Amanda. And whoever's hiding in the bushes, shout out to you too. Appreciate you too for hiding in the bushes and listening in. Okay, for the house members. Thank you, Mama Ryan, for that info. And Amanda, thank you for that information. Okay, Amanda, you too. Love you guys. Love, peace, and hair grease. And I'll see y'all on the other side. Well, whenever. Let's see, for watching. Okay. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Bye. Until next time.